Your company just added 3 electric vans to the fleet. One of your drivers is making a service call, parked on a job site, and somebody rear-ends that van at 30 miles an hour. The bumper is cracked, structural components are damaged, and now the shop has to figure out whether the battery pack was compromised. If it needs to be replaced, parts alone could run $15,000 to $20,000. The van could be out of service for 3 or 4 months waiting on that battery, and every day it sits is a day your business is losing revenue. That is the reality of insuring a commercial electric vehicle fleet, and most business owners walking into it have no idea what they're getting into on the insurance side. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jim Eddington, and my agency helps individuals and businesses with their insurance every single day. We work with business owners who are making the switch to electric vehicles, and the insurance conversation almost always catches them off guard. Today, we're going to walk through the coverage stack you actually need when your business runs electric vehicles, what makes it different from insuring a gas fleet, and where the gaps are that could cost you serious money. The first thing that business owners need to understand about insuring an electric fleet is that commercial auto insurance for EVs can cost more than it does for gas vehicles, and there are reasons for that. Repair costs are higher. Electric vehicles use specialized components that require technicians with specific training. There are fewer shops that can work on them. The parts supply chain is thinner, and because many EVs are heavier and more complex to repair, claim severity can run higher than comparable gas vehicles. Carrier appetite is different too. Some commercial auto carriers are comfortable riding EV fleets. Others are not. They're still building out their loss data on electric vehicles, and until they have enough claims history to feel confident in their pricing models, some carriers are either declining the risk entirely or pricing it at a premium that makes your head spin. That is where working with an independent agency matters. We have access to multiple carriers, and we know which ones are actually riding commercial EV fleets and which ones are going to come back with a declination or a rate that does not make sense. Here's something every business owner with an EV fleet needs to think about. The battery is one of the most expensive single components in the vehicle, and if it's damaged, the repair economics change fast. Depending on the van or truck, a replacement pack can run anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000. When a gas truck gets rear-ended and the engine block cracks, a replacement engine might cost a few $1,000s and the truck is back on the road in a couple of weeks. When a gas truck gets rear-ended and it's not totaled, you might have a few weeks of repair, several $1,000s, and you've got it back. But when an EV gets hit and the battery pack is compromised, you're potentially looking at months of downtime. The battery may need to come from the manufacturer, there may not be a replacement in stock, the repair facility may need to order it and wait. From an insurance standpoint, your commercial auto policy should cover the repair or replacement of that battery under comprehensive or collision coverage. But here's where you need to pay attention. Valuation matters. In a total loss, actual cash value can matter a lot because the carrier is looking at age, condition, and depreciation. If that van is a few years old, the gap between what the policy pays and what a new battery pack costs may be bigger than you expect. That's a conversation you need to have with your agent before you have the claim. How the vehicles are scheduled on the policy and how physical damage is actually valued can make a real difference when a battery pack needs to be replaced. Downtime is the coverage gap that hits electric vehicle fleet owners the hardest, and most of them do not see it coming. When a gas vehicle is damaged, the repair timeline is usually measured in days or weeks. Parts are widely available, shops know how to work on them, the supply chain is mature. Electric vehicles are a different story. Battery replacements, specialized bodywork, software recalibration, these can stretch repair timelines out to 3 or 4 months in some cases. And every day that van or truck is sitting in a shop, your business is short a vehicle. If that vehicle is part of a service fleet or delivery option, you're losing revenue every single day it's off the road. This is where endorsements matter. Depending on the carrier, you may have options like rental reimbursement, transportation expense coverage, or downtime protection, but the default limits are often nowhere near enough for a business that depends on the vehicle every day. A small rental reimbursement endorsement is not going to cut it when your EV is down for months. Talk to your agent about what the actual exposure looks like. What does it cost your business per day when a vehicle is out of service? That number should drive the coverage, not the default limits on the policy. When your business installs electric vehicle charging stations at your facility, you're adding a piece of equipment to your property that creates insurance exposure on 2 fronts, property and liability. On the property side, those charging stations are commercial equipment. They can be damaged by vehicles backing into them, by weather events, by vandalism, by electrical surges. They should be reflected in your commercial property policy or your business owner's policy so they're covered if something happens to them. If you spent $50,000 building out a charging station setup at your shop and a power surge fries the equipment, you want to know that your property policy is going to respond. On the liability side, charging infrastructure creates exposure for injuries on your premises. Someone trips over a cable, a malfunction causes an electrical injury, a fire starts at a charging station and spreads to a vehicle or to your building. These are general liability and property exposures, and your carrier needs to know that the charging equipment is there. If you install charging stations and don't tell your insurance carrier, you could be creating an underwriting issue that comes back to bite you at the worst possible time. If you're leasing charging equipment or contracting with a third-party provider, review that agreement carefully. Understand who is responsible for maintenance, who carries the liability if something goes wrong, and make sure the indemnification language actually protects your business. There's a growing trend where employees use their personal electric vehicles for business purposes. Maybe a field technician drives their own EV to job sites. Maybe a salesperson uses their personal Tesla to visit clients. Maybe a delivery driver runs a few stops in their own car. The moment an employee gets behind the wheel of their personal vehicle to do something for your business, your company has liability exposure. If that employee causes an accident on a work errand, your business can be pulled into a lawsuit under a legal theory called respondeat superior, which essentially says the employer is responsible for what employees do in the course of their work. Hired and non-owned auto coverage is the piece of commercial auto insurance that addresses this. Hired auto covers vehicles your business rents or borrows. Non-owned auto covers employees driving their personal cars for business purposes. This coverage responds on a secondary basis after the employee's personal auto policy is exhausted. Here's the thing a lot of business owners miss. Many personal auto policies have a business use exclusion. If the employee's personal insurance does not cover business driving, and your company does not carry hired and non-owned auto coverage, there could be a gap where nobody's policy responds the way you expect it to. If your employees are using personal EVs for work, make sure your commercial auto policy includes hired and non-owned auto coverage. Have your employees verify that their personal auto policies do not exclude business use. This is a basic risk management step that a lot of companies overlook until there's a claim. When you're building out the insurance program for an electric vehicle fleet, the coverage stack looks like this. Commercial auto insurance. This is the foundation. That covers liability, collision, and comprehensive for the vehicles your business owns. Make sure the valuation method is right, the limits are adequate, and you have endorsements in place for rental reimbursement or downtime protection that actually match your exposure during an extended repair. Commercial property insurance. Your business owner's policy needs to cover your charging infrastructure and any related equipment at your facility. General liability insurance covers the premises liability exposure that comes with having charging stations on your property. Hired and non-owned auto coverage protects your business when employees use personal vehicles or when you rent vehicles for business purposes. Umbrella or excess liability sits on top of everything and gives you higher limits across the board. When you're operating commercial vehicles, especially heavier electric vehicles, the liability exposure in a serious accident can be significant. An umbrella policy is how you protect the business beyond your primary limits. The commercial auto market is tough. Carriers have been dealing with rising claim severity, higher repair costs, and bigger jury verdicts for years. Adding electric vehicles to the equation makes the conversation more complicated, not less. That's exactly why you want an independent agent who can shop multiple carriers and find the carriers that understand this space. If your business is running electric vehicles or planning to add them to your fleet, this is a conversation you should be having with your insurance agent before you take delivery. We write commercial auto policies across Nevada, Arizona, Utah, and California, and we can help you put the right coverage in place so your business is protected. Not just on the auto side, but the property and liability side that comes with the charging infrastructure too. There's a link below to our quote page. Reach out and we'll walk through it with you. Subscribe to the channel. We publish most business days, and what we cover is for business owners and homeowners who want to understand their insurance before they need it, not after. Thanks for watching.